Greetings YouTube. Today we're looking at what I consider to be kind of almost a quintessential camp shape knife. And if you had asked me, what does a camp knife look like when I was 12, this would have been the kind of design I would have told you it looked like. Kind of like a small Bowie, or Bowie, depends on how you want to say it. This particular knife has a leather sheath, and it's fairly well constructed. Again, snap closure, which is my preference, and then we're going to turn this around because I'm right-handed. I just started out the video that way because I think it looks better in the frame. So there you go. It's kind of a classic design. Now this is from, let's bring that in there, American Hunter, and a little sniper reticle on that. And on this side it just says stainless Pakistan, so who knows what kind of steel it is. It's something vaguely 440 probably. And I find the blade shape, again, kind of quintessentially camp knifey kind of thing. It makes me think of like the covers of 1950s men's adventure magazine kind of thing. Hollow grind is kind of a classic design. The grind isn't perfect. For example, this is obviously not even. But I'm going to be honest with you. As much as I find the blade shape aesthetically pleasing, and it came out of the box with, or it came out of the sheath, I should say, because I didn't have a box with this. Somewhat functional. It needs to be worked on if you want to actually use it for anything. What I really bought this for was the grip, was the handle. It just feels really good. It's a heavy knife. This is not light. You could actually probably do some light chopping with this. You could, obviously it's big enough and hefty enough, you could use some doing some thin batoning. I mean, obviously you don't probably want to be doing any batoning much more than like 1.5 inches in diameter with something like this, but you could do that without having to worry about this particular knife. But this is actual bone here, and I liked the brass. I like the spacers, even though they're not perfectly even. I mean, the two spacers are different sizes. This is this one's better. This one again is somewhat asymmetric, but I just like the details. It's got a slight finger shape here, which feels really good in the hand. When I bought this, I'll be honest, I picked this up and I held it, and even though it's again made from actual organic materials, I picked it up, I'm like, wow, that feels so quintessentially like something out of a 50s men's adventure magazine in a cover. And I'm like, I gotta own this. And it was, I think, 25 bucks. I think I paid for this, or yeah, something like that, at an antique shop. And I knew I wasn't buying the best quality steel in the universe. Again, just generic stainless, like something 440C, maybe, who knows, just a generic 440. But I liked the look. So when I purchased this, I purchased the look of this knife. And it feels good. It's very comfortable. And I think it is a nice, I wouldn't quite go so far as to call it a wall hanger, but not far off a wall hanger. I can't imagine myself ever using this in the field. I think it's kind of big to be carrying for a belt knife. I prefer something smaller than this for utility knife, and then carrying you're going to be carrying something like a small machete or a saw or a hatchet for processing wood of any kind of variety. I don't think you need a knife this big. I think it's kind of heavy and kind of awkward because of its overall size when it's on your belt. But as far as the look of a knife goes, yeah, I just love that look. That look is just so cool. And sometimes I buy things purely for their aesthetics. I got lots of art in my collections, ceramics and metals and glass and things. None of them have any utility whatsoever. I own them because I think they're pretty. And I own knives sometimes just because I think they're pretty. Sometimes I think they're pretty and they are useful. Sometimes I think they're pretty and not so much. And I think this falls into the category of not so much. But it is, in my opinion, a really nice, attractive blade. And as far as quality goes, not bad for a Pakistani design. I've seen far worse. Take my word for it. I've seen some really garbage Pakistani blades over the years. But this one is definitely a solid build, nice feel to it. It's got a nice heft to it. And I'm sure that there's an audience out there for this type of a knife for their collection. It isn't the, end all and be all of knives, but I still think it is really darn cool.